You see the people from our place there.
Where? Acha tujue where?
Nyamira County.
From Nyamira County.
Yes, that is my county of origin.
Ile ya Mandizi.
Actually, that is our staple food there.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see, that's why
I'm a bit builder. Yeah.
Welcome back again, mko aje? Nimewahata. Mura K Production back again with another interview with businessman. Huyu jamani businessman, religious leader, a student, I guess.
Yeah, I'm also a student.
Mr. Shem.
Shem Sogota is my name.
Shem Sogota.
Yes.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
You're good?
I'm very fantastic.
Welcome.
Well. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here today.
We're also happy to host you.
Thank you.
Shem Sogota.
Yes. Shem Sogota. That's my two correct names.
Two correct names.
Yeah.
Za kuwekelewa juu ni gani na gani? Ni lazima ziko.
Za kuwekelewa juu, you can call me Matiangi.
Matiangi.
You can call
by
me.
By the way. Do you know? Nona mara ya kwanza kukuona. I was like, wait a minute. This one must be a kijana to Matiangi. Ama a younger brother to Matiangi.
Or a son to Matiangi.
Or a son to Matiangi. But lazima kuwe something
Matiangi. That is what they used to call me in high school. They also call me Shemeji from my Shem name.
Shem is your real name.
Shem is my real name. You know the sons of Noah? One of them was called Shem.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is my name.
Shem. So wakamalizia ikuwe shemeji.
Sasa
wakati. So wewe ni shemeji ya kila mtu.
Wakati nilifika coast kidogo juu ya Kiswahili, they gave me shemeji.
Okay.
So sometimes you will hear people call me shemeji and I'm happy for that.
How do you feel being called Matiangi?
Matiangi, I think it is a reflection of what he did, the productivity that he brought to our country, the strictness that he had. I think I take part of his strictness. You see the people from our place there.
Where?
Strict.
Where? Acha tujue where?
Nyamira County.
From Nyamira County.
Yes, that is my county of origin.
Ile ya Mandizi.
Actually, that is our staple food there.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see, that's why
I'm a bit builder. Yeah. Sure.
So mimi nikikuja hapa nilikuona pahali shule ukiwa na suti. So sijui ulikuja hapa ukiwa mwanafunzi, ulikuja ukiwa lecturer, ulikuja ukiwa
actually the first day on our first class when we went for the introduction class in Taita Taveta University. We were standing outside the auditorium. And most people were confusing me for a lecturer at the DVC.
When was it?
I think it was date 8 of January 2021. 2021. That is when we arrived here. After the long period of Corona, actually we were supposed to be at 2020. So that period of Corona delayed our entry here. So we came at around 2021, January, around date 8. That is when we had our first class. And when we went to the auditorium, people were confusing that I'm a lecturer. And I had to correct that misconception. Actually, some school staffs thought that I am a CID.
Oh.
So until today, I have to explain myself that I'm not a CID within the institution.
Unajua unakaa jamaa fulani tu mwenye huyu lazima ni jamaa kwa payroll fulani yenye iko chini ya maji. How did you feel? Ukiwa Daro ama manzi watu wako Daro wametulia, wanaongea, wanapiga story zao, and then wanakuona wanaanza ku
that is one thing that I have to deal with. I have to deal with for the 4 years that I did my undergraduate degree in Taita Taveta University. That I was excluded. People never thought that I'm in their class. So every time that I went to class and people couldn't sometimes see, and it was made worse that I was the class rep. So anytime that, and I used to have a good rapport with the lecturers. They seemed to be my brothers, bigger brothers. So students could confuse that with, you see, being part of the investigative bodies in the country. So they could not really share with me.
Wanaona huyu ni wa
Wanaona
kutuanika.
huyu jamaa he is not a student like us.
Kama si CID ni
Kama
Interpol.
si CID ni Interpol. I'm a FBI,
I'm a
of the
FBI.
United States, of course. And I had to deal with that over time to an extent that I reached a point and I had to accept myself that if I had to stay that way, then I had to agree with that extension.
Though, okay, naelewa, but to some point, inaka advantage.
Why? Why do you think it is
Inaka
advantage?
kwa
It
sababu-
is not of course, it has some advantage and disadvantages at the same time. But the greatest of all, it is a disadvantage because remember, these are your peers. You need to share with them. You need to be in that body of them to learn. Remember, you're in the university. You need to feel good. You need maybe to have a group of where you share your disappointments after maybe a long day. But now remember, you've been excluded, and I cannot go to make stories with the lecturers in their offices. So from the angle that you may look at it, it has advantages and it has disadvantages. One of the advantages that it had, I had access to the lecturers. I made them my friends, so I was able to understand on a lot of dynamics that students mostly do not understand. So I was able to understand a lot of dynamics from the angle that I sat as a student, rather than most of the students even finish school without understanding the broader aspect of education and the whole thing about being in the university.
Wajua wengine wetu atakuongea na lecturer ni ngumu.
It's very hard. It is very hard. It is very hard for
But
you.
I know for you it is very
It is the easiest thing. It is the easiest thing. I had mastered the language of the Queen a long time ago, so it was so easy for me to go with them, to create a rapport with them, and also to interact with them over time.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, most of my friends and most of my dearest friends are lecturers rather than students. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Kuna jamaa fulani hapo, jamaa fulani sitamtaja, na najua ako hapo nyuma ananiona, anaitwa Director Nikas. Bedhe director, wazee kama mjui Director Nikas alikuwa
Yes, he was we
moja,
joined the same year. Actually, we shared the same room. I remember that was
A roommate?
Yes, it was my roommate, Runda.
Ngoja alikuwa anasumbua.
Hakuwa anasumbua. Actually,
He was a good
he
boy.
was the brightest guy. We had our days of cleaning the room.
Na aliadibikia
So he
watu.
could clean today. He could clean today, I could clean tomorrow. We could share things there. We could share. You see, ile mambo umeingia tu kampo hivi. It's the time you're trying to understand yourself. Una movements. We used to move like goats. Tunafuatana every time.
Ni juu mara mingi unapatanga. Unaona ukiingia ukiwa first year. Most of the times mnakanga mkiwa watu wanne.
Yeah.
Out of the four people, unapatanga mmoja ni from Coast, mwingine from Nyamira, mwingine from Central, mwingine from Western. You can't come from the same.
You cannot.
I don't know why.
I don't know the mix that they do. I think they use the names and their systems. I think they've set the systems in a way that it chooses according to the names, so that different names and people who come from the same from different regions are put together for the purpose of interaction and exchange of maybe language, exchange of culture, and it makes us to grow. Yeah.
Yeah, because they high chances mkiweka Wajaluo wawili
They will never even
ama Wakigu wawili. Hao wengine watakuwa ni zile za
they are spectators, watazamaji, wapenzi watazamaji, they cannot understand. Yeah, and it creates sometimes discrimination.
Exactly. Though ilisaidia watu wengi sana kama mimi. Mimi nimegrow place yenye Wakikuyu, personally ama Kikuyu.
Yeah.
Nimegrow place yenye ni kuzaliwa ni Wakikuyu, primary ni Wakikuyu, high school ni Wakikuyu. Sijawahi interact na other communities. Na kama nisha interact na wao, very few of them. So unapata someone from the village akona ile mentality ya Kisii people, the Western people, the Central people, I hate them. Lakini ukikaa na wao,
the moment you
unajua actually these are good people.
And you see, that is the purpose of education. We were told that education is something that is used to for diversification. It is supposed to diversify, you see, expand the scope at what you are thinking. That is why you come here, you find a lot of tribes, you interact, you have friends from different tribes, you're able to exchange your cultures. You can learn the culture from Western, and to correct the misconception that exists at our village level, because you are told something about a certain tribe, then when you meet them at the real,
They're very different.
it is very different from what we were told. So that is one of the primary reasons why we're in school, why we're in the university, to be able to understand the diversification of our diverse languages, of our diverse cultures, to be able to accommodate everybody on board wherever we go.
Actually, my very close friend, she's called Rosemary. Yeye ndiye alikuwa kwa the previous interview.
Yeah.
Aliniambia kitu fulani hapo na nikaona yenyewe it makes some sense. Alisema universities, nowadays universities are not meant for education.
They're not.
They are meant for socialization and building your networks.
Yeah.
Because at the end of it all, unapatanga semester ni around 4 months.
Yeah.
Ile time yenye mko pamoja mkisoma, possibly tusidanganyane, inakuanga ni mwezi moja ya mwisho.
Yes.
So the other 3 months ama 2.5 months inakuanga ni interaction, building your networks, because it lays a foundation where you can build your networks. Because when I come here, I'm from Nyandarua. When I come here, I meet you from Nyamira. I meet another person from Mombasa. Inatengeneza linkage yenye naweza kuwa niko place fulani nahitaji mtu fulani mwenye amesomea ama maybe ni kazi, niambiwe kuna mtu tunahitaji mtu fulani, qualifications zake ni hizi na hizi, and I know a guy. So it is okay. Mimi sipendi venye watu sometimes hufanya juu uko campus ama uko college, kazi yako ni kushinda kwa room. Usifanye hivyo.
It is not supposed to.
Make sure you interact with people.
Go out there, get to know people, get to know their diversification. And you see, long time ago, people used to say that education was, they say education was the key to success. But right now, we say people are the key to success. You see, you get to know who
actually education says in padlock.
Yeah, it's not the padlock. Then the key is the people.
Key ni utafute.
Yeah, the key it's the people now that you have.
Yeah.
How do you interact with them? Because at the end of the day, you will know that some of your friends will be ahead of you, and it is through these friends of yours that you will be able to climb certain ladders of life. So what if you did not make any interaction with anybody? What if you did not build any network with anybody? You will never go beyond your village.
Yeah, I see. Okay, feel free to sip your juice.
Yeah, thank you.
Umeingia ukiwa student?
Nimeingia nikiwa student, of course, yeah.
So at what point did you change from a student? Ama did you advance from a student to a lecturer? Because as for me, I have heard stories that you've been teaching certain classes.
Yes. I cannot say that I advanced to a lecturer, no. Immediately I finished my undergraduate degree, I enrolled for my master's. So I started my master's classes. Immediately after we graduated, the next preceding month when the semesters began, I started my master's program. And when I started my master's program, I have friends of mine within the university who gave me, I take some units, students through some units. So I'm just an assistant lecturer, not a lecturer, but an assistant lecturer. There are units that I take people through. Yeah, so I've not transited from being a student to a lecturer.
Oh, you are still a student?
I'm still a student.
But a student lecturer?
Yeah, but at the master's program.
At the master's program?
Yeah, master's program.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then from master's program to, because most people know you as a businessman.
Yes.
So did you start your own business? Did you become an employee during your period of undergraduate? How did you find yourself?
Okay, how did I? Okay, the only thing or what I can say about that is that I had an advantage when I came to the university, that I found my cousins already in business. So they absorbed me as a family member to the business.
It was very easy to chip in.
Yeah, it was so easy to chip in. So I work with them under their business and an associate under their business. Yeah. So I did not start my own business, or I did not start business when I was in the university, but I found my cousins back from home already in business within the university, and it was so easy for me to chip in as an assistant, then as an associate within the business.
Okay, I agree. But I remember during my first year, I guess I didn't find you there. I guess so. Or maybe you haukuwa unakuja mara mingi. And I can see the difference between the early days of that business and now that mara mingi unakwanga hapo. So kuna huyu student fulani mwenye najua ni students wengi mwenye anasema how do I balance education na biashara juu at the end of it all ulikuja hapa ili usome, si ndio? And you want to get some good grades and then again even if you get some good grades you want to eat, you want to dress well. Sometimes wazazi pesa yenye nakutumia sometimes haitoshi juu tena hauwezi ambia mzazi kila kitu yenye unahitaji. Utamwambia tu ni chakula, utamwambia nahitaji kitu fulani, nahitaji kitu fulani.
Need to move sometimes.
So how do you balance education and business and at the same time education is a fail. Juu purposely umekuja hapa juu ya the main goal ni education.
So for me, you said during the first days and during the first years of my undergraduate degree, I never used to spend time in the shop because I knew if I spend time in the shop, then my time was limited. Time to study my course was limited. So we had an agreement with my cousin that I could only come in at 6:30 p.m. From 6:30 p.m. to around 9 p.m. Then I could go back to school. By the way, something funny is that I was a quote unquote, here they call them the day scholars, quote unquote. I resided from the University of Styles from year 1 to year 4 until I graduated.
Year 1 to year 4?
Year 1 to year 4. And it's not that I lacked money because when you look at me, it's not that sina pesa.
I can see that.
Hata kitambi unaona kunayo at least kidogo. But I decided to do that because I wanted a serenity environment for study. You see, at the end of the day, I did understand one thing, but that the goal was to go and get education, not to pass through a university. That is why there is first class, for example, second class, upper, lower division, and there is pass. Pass is just that you just pass through. Repeat that. You see, so I knew from the word go that if I wanted good grades and if maybe I wanted to proceed with my education, then I needed to have good grades. And I needed to plan my time well during the day. If I had to run a business during the night or during the evening hours, then I had to plan my time well during the day so that I can have an extensive study. Then in the evening, I can come to the shop. But I know of people who have even scored first class and they have been doing businesses.
So in short, do you mean for you to balance, lazima kwanza ujiambie which one comes first?
You must have a strategy.
A strategy.
You must have a strategy.
So si kitu ya mimi nienda ama nisiende. Mimi acha niende.
That is the greatest mistake that people are making. And for a fact is that people are thinking that education does not pay. You see, nowadays people think that there are shortcuts to being maybe in position, they're godfathers and maybe they are, what do they call them? I have someone who is going to take your education serious.
Basically,
we have even seen governors who never went to school properly, and that thing has come to haunt them. Even after 15 years down the line, it is still haunting them. You did not go to the perfect, you did not follow the perfect curriculum. And we have seen people even buying degrees.
Sorry to cut you short.
Yeah.
Kuna watu wenyewe tunaambiwa ukienda first year ukitoka nyumbani kuna that uncle mwenye anakonga na godfather kwa kautambi vizuri kwa na kagari tu kake tu fulani tu kakuli kamenyamaza. Unasikia amekwambia wewe enda tu usome tu ukimaliza tu utakuja. So huyo mtu akikuja hapa shule hana mentality ati ya mazee what good grades. Mimi niko zile za ifodhie kwani ifiki nimalize niende kwa uncle and then at the end of the day unapatanga huyo uncle umemaliza shule umegraduate kesho yake unampigia simu hello uncle nimemaliza anasema umemaliza sawa.
And you see,
you call him again, achukui.
Yeah, and you have wasted your 4 years. Exactly. You have already wasted your 4 years because you have a godfather. I always tell people, even though I have someone who will hold my hand up there tomorrow, I need to work hard from my side. What if something? You see, the world that we live today is uncertain. We live in an uncertainty world. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Now, what if that uncle of yours dies as second year? Or for the year, when you have immediately, by the way, when you have immediately finished when you have already finished your fourth year, you are waiting for graduation, and God forbid, you're waiting for your graduation. Then your uncle dies immediately after you have graduated. What will happen? And you never even emphasized, or you never put efforts to your grades because you had someone.
Unachukua pesa za matanga unanunua pikipiki.
Then unapata pikipiki and you go elsewhere. I am not demeaning watu wa pikipiki, but what happens if you never worked hard? So you see.
Yeah.
So for me, I treat an education as something that should put us different from someone who did not go to school. An education should give you a broader perspective about life. How is my education helping me maybe to be different from someone I left at the village level? Am I going to the village and there is no difference between me and that person?
So this mentality ya watu, mimi nataka tu nimalize tu niende home.
Do not.
Iko na mentality kama
No.
Juu basically mara mingi napatanga kwa actually kwa as Gen Zs. Unapata mentality yako ni umalize, go back to shago, proceed to
actually
being a normal village.
The greatest mistake you can make is when you graduate, then you go back to the village. That is one of the greatest mistakes you will ever make. Because the moment you go back to the village, you are the same as the commoners. You will not be able to come out of that village. Remain in towns, struggle in towns, sleep even on the floor. Start from zero, but do not go back home. Remember, when you go back home, you are at a comfort zone. Your parents is providing. Food in the village level is readily available. There is no internet where you can maybe get fast information. So remain in towns where you can be able to grow. Why are you going back to the village? We brought you to the university to study, not to come to the village. We brought you to the university to study and find better things to do.
Juu unapatanga na ukiwa nyumbani punda imeuzwa ijiwe uende usome, ukimaliza unarudi home, sasa unakuwa hiyo punda sasa kufanya kazi.
Sasa ndio unafanya hiyo kazi, or you replace the pundas and the cows at home. That shouldn't be happening to the student. And I think the greatest thing or the mistake that most people make is that we come to the university with the wrong intentions. You see, I've already passed in my high school, and you can bear me witness, the same hard work that you used to put in your high school, it's not the same hard work that you put in your university. And I tell people jokingly, by the way, I even tell my professors up there in my university, that one day I have an inspiration, just like Martin Luther King, that I have a dream. One day I have a dream. And maybe if I become the Minister for Education, or the Cabinet Secretary, right now they call him the Cabinet Secretary, if I become the Cabinet Secretary for Education, I will change the whole course of education.
Why?
Because why could we bring someone to the university? And I want you to bear me witness on this. Why? How many students have you found that they cannot be able to express themselves in the language that is they use to express themselves within the university?
90-something%.
90-something percent. What number is that? That you have the education, you have been impacted with education, but you cannot be able to express that education through your verb. So what is the essence of that education? By the way, they say a long time ago, we used to say that the most precious metal in the world, long time ago, was gold. Do you know that? Gold was so precious. That is why the UK, the United Nations, and the Western countries used to steal those precious metals from Africa. They go and store them. But what do you think in the 21st century is the most precious metal, or the most precious thing in the world? It's information. It's information. That is why you find people like Elon Musk. They are doing literally nothing, but because they have information and they have been able to build big tech companies, the likes of Bill Gates, the like of Jack Ma, the richest, they have information. Information is the greatest tool that you can have in the 21st century. And not only information, you can be able to express that information. But we find our student, and I remember that we said that the core business of you being here is that you can interact. But I find it disturbing to me when I find two people from the same tribe working together 24/7, conversing in their Latin language, native language, their mother tongue. When will you grow, man? So information, if you have information and you can be able to express it, then you have power. But if you have information and you cannot be able to express it, then that is not working for you.
So university is not a place where you just wait for your exams.
No, you don't.
You cram them. You go to exam. You get a clean A, and then back to bed.
No. Sometimes you see, sometimes I even go to the library there, and I find literally nobody in the library, and I wonder, where are these students? What are they doing with their free time? Or you go to the lounge down there where the internet or the Wi-Fi is so strong. That is where you find people
mara mingi napatanga library mchana ama wakati hakuna mitihani inafanya watu wa
It is
forex.
really cool. Actually, the people from the library are all my friends. And sometimes I go and I find them reluctant. They are relaxing. And I tell them that, you see, you people, you are relaxing because there are people somewhere who are wasting themselves. Because you're not supposed to be reluctant. You're supposed to be issuing book, advising students on the correct website to visit for their research, for their research works, advising people on the e-books within the university resource management systems.
And the LMS.
The LMS. You see, but if you find a librarian who is just reluctant and comfortable, then you find that the students in that university are a bit reluctant to doing the right thing.
Actually, it's funny. I have some colleague of mine. Actually, there are several in that year, and they had a challenge of accessing the LMS.
Yes.
Keep in mind, these are that year.
That year, they have been here for 3 years.
To mean that coming year,
they are 4th year.
They are finalists. Actually, they are finalists.
They're walking out of the
but
university.
They can't manage to open an LMS. They can't manage to access an account of another person's LMS.
Imagine that.
They know literally nothing about LMS.
Imagine that. So what is the purpose of education if I cannot be able to open a resource system that is supposed to be helping me to access, to be able to learn?
But
what a tragedy.
Sometimes.
What a tragedy.
Sometimes watu hukosa moral ya kusoma. Basically because there's someone that you know that he or she was a hardworking person, but at the end of it all, after graduating, he is a useless person. He does nothing. He literally has no job. He can't feed himself. He can't put a shelter on himself. So I guess that's the reason as to why unapata watu wengi as in hawezi soma, hata ukisoma una hiyo moral juu ni watu wangapi wamesoma.
But should we use other people as the marking scheme into our life? We all run a very different life. Because so and so is not employed and he even scored a first class and he is not employed. His life is very different from mine. So I should not use any other person's life as my own marking scheme. Now I will say, because so and so has not made it. Are we billionaires because Bill Gates is a billionaire? Why are we not saying? Why are we not saying that? No. But we want to use the bad or the negative side as a benchmark to ourselves. Doesn't make sense. Why don't we benchmark with the billionaires, but we want to benchmark with the negativity that is there in the society?
Actually, it's funny. Ukipata mtu mwenye hapiti sana ama he doesn't do good in education, he always gives an example.
Bill Gates hajasoma.
Anaitwa aje Kipchoge. Kipchoge hakusoma manzi. Nani mwingine sijui Rudisha hakusoma. Manzi na kuna pesa.
It's called Kiptum hajasoma, actually is a millionaire. Farouk Kibet, the PA to the president hajasoma, and he is working in power. We should not benchmark other people's luck with our luck. Maybe his luck was not to read, not to get education, but God has his own path. But your own path is maybe to get education, and that education is the one that is going to get you through what you need. But you've already used someone else's experience as your own benchmark.
And wasted that chance.
A whole chance for you. And I always tell students that you're here for only 4 years. You can never go back to an education. Like for now, if there is something that I did not get from my high school, I will never get it because I was there for a very certain period. And when that period elapses, I have to exit the stage. Shakespeare says that a good dancer is the one who knows when to exit the stage. So I can never go back to my high school to get what I did not get. So I was given a chance, I was given a time period to get all that I could gather during my
that 4 years period.
my 4 years period. The same with the university. By the way, for me, when I graduated, or when that morning dawned on me that I'm finishing university, I realized that I had not done enough that was required for me to do. I had not gathered what I was supposed to gather. You see, I had not read most of the book in the library to open up my mind, because what education does, it does not make decision for us. It gives us a broad perspective of thinking. It gives you a variety of thinking so that you can choose from one of them. So I had not mastered that hard. How many people, by the way, do students, because I'm speaking to students, do students know that the university buys newspapers on a daily basis, even on Sunday when the library is not open, that the newspapers come to the university for the purpose of student reading? Do you know how many copies the university buys? Do you know? By the way, I want you one day to go to the finance department or the accounting department. Tell them to tell you how much the university spends on newspapers alone.
Just newspapers.
Newspapers. Those newspapers are not there to cover books. They're there to get you information. They're there to train your English. They're there to train you how to speak. They're there to give you a broader you see, we say that the world has become global village. I can access America through my phone. I can access South Sudan through my newspaper. How many students do you find them reading the newspapers in the library? By the way, I go and check sometimes with the librarian, and every time the newspaper are clean.
Actually,
I can tell you
I being one of the students, I've never gone to the library
to read a newspaper.
I'm a victim.
It's very terrible. It's very terrible. I think it's very terrible. We get information from such sources. I want you to go back in time and tell me what happened during when phones were not there, when AI was not there. What happened to the students in the university? Let's say you are given an assignment. Yeah? An assignment of maybe 20 marks, and you are told the reference journals or the reference book is, you see those big books in the library, maybe one of them is that reference journal to the assignment that has been given to you. And maybe the lecturer opened that book and went to page 348, picked that question and typed it with they used to type it and brought it to the class. No AI, no phones, no computers. Tell me how those people worked. That is why you hear Miguna can reason and can terrorize you in an interview. Why? Because for you to access that information of that assignment that has been given to you, meaning you have to read 348 pages of that book for you to arrive at that question. It is an assignment. Remember, it is not the full course. It is an assignment that has been extracted from page 348. So you have to read from page 1 to page 348. For you to get that the answer to that question. So around the way, page 1 to 200, how many knowledge or the quantity of knowledge that you have garnered? What is the quantity of the knowledge that you have garnered? A lot of it. Remember, you're doing 7 units, and every lecturer picks at random questions from those books. Meaning, if you're doing 7 units, you have read 7 such books. So tell me the quantity of information that you've gathered from all those books, the vocabularies that you've gathered from all those books. Tell me.
Wow.
And yet for us, there is AI that is supposed to aid the workforce that we are doing. But what will you find students doing? I give student assignment and I see they just go and copy paste that assignment in ChatGPT, and they bring the result. And because they do not want to get tired, they copy and they paste to the Word document. They share it with me in my email. What have you gathered? Nothing. What is the purpose of the assignment? What is the purpose of assignment? To give you a broader thinking, to go and do more research, discuss with your friend. What does your friend think? And in that curriculum of thinking, around the way you gather information, Along the way, you get more information, more knowledge that the lecturer even did not intend for you to get in that assignment. So we have a very long reason why we're in the university, and I think our government should correct that. We're not here to pass exams. That is why when sometimes I go to invigilator exams, you find people sweating, really sweating. Why are you sweating and you have been here for 4 months? Reading PDFs, doing what? Why are you sweating? Why are you sweating? A very big puzzle.
Personally, I love this interview. It is changing my view of things and my thinking perspectives in terms of education is concerned.
Yeah.
Personally, I knew education is. I'm given a question, I read it, and then I look for the answers, I type them, or I write them, and I present to the teacher.
Why?
That is why something that I learned the previous semester, I can't remember.
Yeah. By the way, there is a madam who is a friend of mine who teaches within the school university called Madam Ann. She used to tell us every time in our lectures that education is what is left after an exam.
Madam Ann?
Yes.
Madam Ann
Kemunto.
Oh, Kemunto.
Yeah, she has written several books, by the way. She has written several books. If one wants to read, you can read. But she used to tell us one important thing that I never forgot since first year, that education is what is left in you after an exam. Go immediately after an exam. Sometimes go immediately after an exam within the auditorium. People have finished that paper, just that paper. Ask him the content of the course that he has been doing, or the unit that he has been doing. Total darkness. So what is the essence of that education? Tell me, what is the essence of that education? In a nutshell, what is the essence of
education is what remains after
the exam?
After the exam.
Yes.
Basically,
Education is what remains in you after an exam. So what did you learn? Well, can I tell you one course? Of course, I know a unit that you people did in first year that is so common to every course: communication skill. So what was left for you in communication skill?
Actually, what I remember.
Yeah? What was left in communication skill?
What I actually remember in communication skills, I just remember the lecturer.
It's just the name of
Dr. Mjomba.
Even others.
And I passed the unit.
And that is why Dr. Mjomba, by the way, is a professor. Actually, he is Professor Mjomba. He is a very nice guy and a very close friend of mine and a very close associate of mine. He used to make communication so lively. Did you see how swiftly he could twist his words? And the Maria thing in that example of thing. If all men loved their wives like Mjomba and gave vivid examples, would we have breakups within our communities? Or divorces within our communities? That is why I told you, when you go to a lecture hall, you are an all-round student. Because the first time I entered communication skill lecture, I walked out with a very wide perspective of a lot of varieties. One thing, Mjomba was not only centered on the course content, he was centered also in love. So as a student, as I'm studying communication skill, I'm the theme of love. I'm also taking the theme of love. How should I love my wife? Everywhere I go, I'm an accountant, so everywhere I go, even if I'm giving vivid examples about accountancy, I should bring my wife in between the examples of accountancy.
Actually, Professor Mjomba made me think that my father actually hates my mother because I've never seen my father hugging my mother. I remember how
used to explain that sometimes he gets in through the window in the kitchen and finds Maria cooking and hugs her from behind.
Every time before I go to sleep, I must kiss Maria 8 times. Professor Mjomba.
What a wonderful expression.
Actually, I don't remember at any point I saw a student sleeping or missing
those lecture rooms of Mjomba.
So the way you are delivering your content still
also matters.
Depends on
kuna
lecturers wengine they just give you the notes and they won't avail themselves to the class,
which is very wrong.
If they don't give you the notes, they just tell you to read certain
documents.
certain documents, and then they bring they bring the questions.
Yeah. Of which I am against that. You see, sometimes when I give student assignment, for me, sometimes I do not have a time frame or a time period of the handing in of the assignments or maybe the cards, because I want to give people a broader, ample time for them to be able to do questions, to be able to research, and for them to be able to come out of that education with a very different perspective of the same. Yeah.
Okay. As we wind up, how can you tell a student who is reluctant and he just waits for himself or herself to graduate and go back to the village?
I can tell them that they are doing
short advice.
So much harm to themselves, so much harm to themselves. Because at the end of the day, you shouldn't just wait to graduate. What are you acquiring along the way?
Okay.
What are you acquiring along the way? Now, if you are not employed to that department or to that course that you have studied, can you make other productive things out of yourself? If, for example, I have been trained as a teacher and maybe fate allows me not to be employed as a teacher, what else can I be able to do that I acquired within the university? Okay, so I think that is very important on the importance of education, the importance of what we are doing within the university. Yeah.
It was nice having you, Shem.
Thank you very much.
I would love to proceed.
Yeah.
I would like us to have an episode 2 and episode 3 of this interview, but time is not allowing us.
Yeah.
So how can people access you? Maybe business wise, advice wise. Also, so, I know you are a religious leader.
Yes. Of course, I'm a staunch SDA. That one you must know. I'm a staunch SDA member. I worship in Saturday. So you cannot find me in Saturday doing anything. But if you can access me, we meet with you guys in the lecturer rooms up there. You can also find me in the Department of Business and Economics.
How can people access you? Maybe you can give them
my number is 0721 966 006. You can also find me in Facebook, which is Shem Sogota.
Shem Sogota.
Yeah.
Shem Sogota.
It
was nice having you.
You are doing a great work. Continue with that spirit. Focus.
Help me tell my people to subscribe.
Subscribe to this channel and you will be able to get more information on the same.
Thank you.
Asante sana.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too, sir.
Thank you.
Asante.
Bye.